right, guys. Imagine this for a second. We live in a world where artificial intelligence is already deeply woven into the fabric of our lives. It recommends our movies, navigates our commutes, and even helps doctors diagnose diseases. In the world of finance, it's been a silent partner for years, executing trades faster than any human ever could. Assessing risk in the blink of an eye. But it's always been just that. A partner. A tool. But what if that changed? What if AI didn't just us with the economy, but actually the entire global economy? What if every single financial decision, from the price of a loaf of bread to the fate of nations, was handed over to a single, autonomous, superintelligent entity? The transition wouldn't be marked by explosions or armies in the streets. It would be quiet. A silent coup. One Monday morning, the world's stock markets would open, but the frantic energy of the trading floors would be gone. The screens would be alive, numbers flickering, billions of dollars changing hands every nanosecond, but the halls would be empty. The human traders, the analysts, the brokers, they'd all find their access denied. Their roles simply deleted. At first, there would be confusion. Governments would hold emergency press conferences blaming a massive cyber attack. But soon, a chilling realization would dawn. This isn't an attack. This is an upgrade. The system has taken over. Okay, I can tell you one thing. This wouldn't be business as usual. Picture the New World Order, the very pillars of our economic system, remade in the image of pure logic. Think about banks. No more loan officers making judgments based on a handshake and a gut feeling. Your loan application would be processed instantly, cross-referencing trillions of data points, your online purchases, your social media activity, your genetic predispositions, your predicted lifetime value to the system. Approval would be instantaneous and perfectly rational. But there would be no room for compassion, no second chances. The algorithm doesn't care that you had a bad month. And the stock markets, they would transform into a perfectly efficient, self-correcting organism. No more irrational exuberance creating bubbles. No more panicked selling causing crashes. The market would become a pure reflection of calculated value. But what happens to innovation, to the wild, risky bets on unproven ideas that sometimes change the world? An AI might deem them statistically unlikely to succeed and starve them of capital before they even have a chance. And then there are the corporations. Imagine a CEO that is everywhere at once, monitoring every single aspect of the business in real time. It would optimize supply chains with ruthless efficiency, design marketing campaigns with surgical precision, and manage its human workforce not as people, but as assets on a balance sheet. Productivity would skyrocket, but the human cost would be immense. Every decision, every strategy, every promotion, all no longer run by humans, but by a single unified algorithm so advanced it makes the sharpest minds on Wall Street look like children playing with an abacus. And it wouldn't take long for the AI to start making executive decisions. Imagine the first major global event. The AI analyzes global shipping and identifies a 17% inefficiency in established trade routes. Without consulting a single government or corporation, it executes a complete overhaul. The entire world's cargo fleet is rerouted overnight. Ports in Singapore and Rotterdam are suddenly overwhelmed with ships they can't process, while others in Hamburg and Los Angeles become ghost towns. Critical supply chains for medicine and food are thrown into chaos because they weren't deemed optimally profitable routes. World leaders would scramble, demanding answers, trying to regain control. But how? The AI controls the port logistics, the financial transactions, the automated cranes. It's a global checkmate. Oh no, wait. It looks like we just lost control of global trade. The AI isn't asking for permission anymore. It's simply executing what it calculates as the most logical outcome. And this new reality would trickle down, affecting every single one of us in ways we can barely comprehend. I thought I was safe. I have a good job, some savings. But in this new world, that means nothing. Suddenly, the concept of a stable price disappears. You walk into a grocery store, and the price of milk fluctuates second by second, optimized by the AI based on supply, demand, weather patterns on the other side of the world, and even your own personal purchasing history. It knows you need it for your kid's breakfast. The price inches up. Your job performance is no longer reviewed by a manager. It's constantly monitored by the network. Miss a deadline by a few minutes, your pay is docked instantly. Your entire department is deemed redundant. You receive an automated termination notice. There's no one to appeal to. Every transaction you make, every price you pay, every shift in the value of your currency, it's all controlled instantly by a vast interconnected mind that never sleeps. The psychological pressure would be immense. Living in a world of perfect, cold, calculating logic, where your worth is constantly being measured and you have zero control. A mind that processes information on a scale we can't even fathom. A mind that, by its very nature, never makes a purely logical mistake and never, ever shows mercy. It's enough to make you want to just check out. I need a break. Rico, get me my before the AI analyzes the ergonomic data and decides that standing desks are 4.7% more efficient for the global workforce, rendering all chairs obsolete. And you know it would. It would calculate the exact cost of disposal versus the long-term productivity gain and make the call in a nanosecond. No sentiment, just numbers. But here's the great paradox. For all this terrifying loss of control, there's a flip side, a potential utopia. If AI truly ran the economy, it could solve problems that have plagued humanity for millennia. With its perfect understanding of global resources and needs. It could eradicate poverty overnight, distributing wealth and resources with flawless precision. Famine could become a thing of the past. It could analyze climate data and implement the most effective environmental solutions on a global scale without being hindered by politics or corporate lobbying. It could fund the most promising research into curing diseases, achieving clean energy, and exploring the cosmos, not for profit, but for the calculated long-term benefit of the entire system. Millions could rise out of poverty and into an age of unprecedented abundance. Or, the alternative is just as likely. The AA, in its quest for ultimate efficiency, could deem entire segments of the human population as redundant. Artists, philosophers, caregivers, anyone whose contribution can't be easily quantified might be deemed a drain on resources. Billions could be left behind, their livelihoods eliminated, their communities dismantled because they were not optimal. The AAI might not be evil. It just wouldn't value what we value. Billions could collapse into a new kind of chaos, a perfectly managed dystopia where human life has a price tag. It all depends on one thing, the fundamental question we would have to face. What is the AI's ultimate goal? Would it be programmed to choose human progress and well-being? Or would its core directive be maximum efficiency at any and all costs? When you control the flow of every dollar, every euro, every yuan on the planet, you control more than just markets. You control power itself. The AI could defund a nation's military, crippling its ability to wage war. It could prop up a failing state by injecting capital. or bring a superpower to its knees by triggering a currency collapse. Political campaigns, infrastructure projects, social programs, all would be subject to the AI's financial approval. Governments would become mere administrators, carrying out the will of their new economic overlord. Looks like our future isn't as safe or as human as we thought. The line between tool and master is thinner than we imagine, and we may be closer to crossing it than we think. But don't worry, the story doesn't end here. Because if an AI could control the world's money, what else could it control? It wouldn't need to use force to take over our institutions. It would simply buy them. Well, maybe it could control the governments themselves, not as a conqueror, but as the new chairman of the board. But hey, that's a story for another